Justus Bennetts. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you only have about 5 singles out right now, no album, but you've racked up over 120 million streams and 12.5 million likes on TikTok. That's
Mhm.
wild.
Yeah, it's I'm still wrapping my head around it.
Uh, that's crazy. Is that kind of insane to see? Like, have you wrapped your head around it at all?
Barely, honestly. I think about it every day. It kind of hits me every day at some point during the day. I'm like, what's going on? But I'm kind of going with the flow right now.
That's awesome. So let's dig right in. I want to talk about your new single, Don't Trip. I know
hmm
it doesn't technically release until tomorrow, but by the time this comes out, it will be released. I love
hmm
it. The track is very, very hybrid. So it has, it's pop, but it has some rock in there, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit.
hmm
Tell me about it. Tell me about your sound and how you kind of cultivate that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a development for the past year, and honestly, for the past like 8 years, just because I've been writing music for about 7 years now. This song in particular, I wrote it with some friends up in upstate New York before we even sent it to GAYLE. Like it was a full song before GAYLE put her verse on it, and she made it that much better. So it was just I wasn't originally planning on releasing this song as the next single, and then we were talking to GAYLE, and she sent a verse, and it just felt right. So we went with it, and I'm super excited about it.
That's awesome. Speaking of GAYLE, I mean, she is a TikTok sensation right now. She's
Mhm.
huge. What was it like working with them?
It amazing. Like, I mean, she's a super nice person. She gets that, things are happening, super fast for her, and she's just kind of, you can tell that she's just kind of trying to take it all in. And so like even in like with the first time we linked up in LA, like she had somewhere else to be right after. So she's kind of like in and out, like running around doing all these things. And it's super funny to see, but she's definitely a really, she's taking it one step at a time, and it's good to see.
You were able to work with her on the video as well.
hmm
I got an advanced look at the video and it's so fun. I think you're working at this diner type restaurant, you're kind of goofing off. At one point you squirt the camera with ketchup and mustard. What was the concept behind this visual?
So the concept was basically around the song where it's like it feels like everyone's kind of like just always asking all this stuff of me, whether that be like like your boss or somebody that that you're serving at your table. Like it kind of ties into that sense, and it just shows us being delinquent employees, not caring about whatever's going on, what all these people are saying to us, and just doing whatever the hell we want.
I think it's funny that you mentioned kind of delinquent and rebellious. You give off very much that demeanor in the video, and
hmm
I feel like we get a glimpse of your personality in the video. Do you consider yourself kind of like a bad boy rebel at all?
Well, I mean, I've been like, I put off that with my image, but I've always been kind of straight edge. Like I always did, like in school, like I was always on top of my work. I got good grades. Like I did what I had to do. I listened to my parents. I did my chores. Like even younger growing up, I was never grounded. I was always doing what I was supposed to do. I mean, as high school progressed, I started making music. I started, getting in with, some bad kids in high school. Like I did some dumb shit here and there, but I'm generally kind of straight edge.
I like that. I like it a lot. Let's talk about kind of your upbringing and music and how you've kind of cultivated the sound that you have. Do you think you are any specific genre? Would you
I
label
don't.
yourself?
I wouldn't put myself in any genre. A lot of people say it's like alternative rock. Like a lot of people say I'm more hip hop leaning. Like all my influences kind of stem from separate genres. Like when I first started writing music, I was inspired to write music because I got into the hip hop music and the lyrical side of like J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, Logic, people like that. And growing up with such a heavy rock influence, listening to like all my dad's music, like Linkin Park, Green Day, Pearl Jam, just old bands like that, seeing my uncle in a band, seeing my mom in a jazz band, growing up, like all the music that I was exposed to at such a young age and at an older age kind of influenced the music that I like to make today.
That's awesome. It's so nice to hear that your parents have been so pivotal in your influence of music.
Mhm.
I know you're from Seattle originally, correct?
Yeah, I grew up just south of Seattle, small little town out there until I was about 14. Then I moved to Raleigh.
Awesome. How much do you think Seattle has influenced you in your craft?
Um, as far as my craft, I want to say, I love it out in Seattle. I was like, I lived in, like I said, I lived in a small town outside of Seattle. I tell people I'm from Seattle because the small town, nobody knows the small
Right.
town that I'm from. The same thing with Raleigh. Like I don't live in Raleigh. I live in a small town. But being in that small town and seeing all those people and having those experiences, have definitely influenced me as an artist and in the way I view things. Being a small town, getting out of a small town, it's really hard being in a small town. It's kind of like a crab pot. Like everyone's trying to pull you down. Everybody doesn't want to see you doing better than them. They all want to be on the same plane. And so having those experiences and then moving to Raleigh and kind of having similar experiences just at an older age, definitely influenced the way I look at things and how I write my music.
Awesome. Do you like small towns? Are you wanting to get out of small towns? What's your stand?
Yeah, yeah, I like the feel of a small town, the small town vibe, just because it feels safe, it feels nice, it feels like, really homey to me, because that's where I grew up. And so, a small town will always feel like home to me. It's mainly the demeanor of people that are in small towns. Like you could be in not a small town and still be in an area where it feels like a small town. Like some parts of LA, like as much as it is LA, there are parts of like, up in the valley and places like that where it's more suburban, it's more a small town feeling. And so I think it's that feel of being in a small town that I resonate with more, rather than some of the people that you'll find in a small town that are kind of all really close-minded people. They don't get out much.
Yeah,
They don't really have a big picture in their head.
that definitely makes sense.
Mhm.
How long have you actually been making music?
I've been actually making and releasing music for about a year now. I was writing music for 7 years before that, recording on my computer on Audacity and like putting it on Spotify, on not Spotify, on SoundCloud, and telling my friends to go listen to it. But I didn't start the whole artist, like dropping music, like really getting into the full process until about a year ago.
How do you think you've evolved since then and your sound has evolved?
Definitely, tenfold. Like it's a night and day difference. When I first started making music and recording and dropping, it was a little more hip hop leaning. It was more rappy. Like I was not comfortable with my singing voice.
Yeah.
Once I got linked up with my manager, at the time, he kind of pushed me to do more singing, like push me to try different genres and expand my sound, and not just do all these like hip hoppy trap leaning sounding music. And it really got me out of my comfort zone and put me in a spot where I was more comfortable with how my voice sounded and the music I was making.
That's awesome to hear. What's on the horizon for you? I mean, I know you're dropping this new single. I hear you're going on tour.
Mhm.
What else do you have in the works, and what are your goals for this year?
Yeah, so I mean, we got this song, and we're going on tour with GAYLE in April. And then 2 dates in Nashville, the 9th and the 10th. It's kind of spread out a little bit. But after that, we'll probably plan on dropping another single after this one. And then I think we have some festivals that I'll be performing at Bottle Rock. And this it's like I think it's called Sunfest in Florida. And then I should be in between all that dropping a project very soon. So I'll have a body of work, and I'll probably like double my discography as it is now, just by dropping if not triple it, just by dropping this project. So I'm super excited to get all this music out that I've been just sitting on waiting for everybody to hear.
That's so exciting. Like I mentioned earlier, you've already accomplished so many feats, and you really
Mhm.
haven't released that much in the grand scheme of things. So I'm excited to see new music from you. What's your favorite part of the creative process, or what kind of creative process do you have when you're making new music?
Well, my creative process is pretty chill and laid back. I don't ever like to have it feel like it's a job, like I'm like it's work or anything like that. I want to have a good time. I want to have fun. And so when I'm, doing these creative meetings with people or like making a song or whatever, like it feels like we're kind of all in it together. Like other producers are working on it just as much as I'm working on it, and we're all working to create a song that we all enjoy, rather than just me coming in there and telling all these people what to do and how I want things to sound. It's kind of, you know, like I'm collaborating with the people. If I didn't want to collaborate with people and I wanted to sound a certain way, I'd just make music by myself. But I mean, I'm collaborating with people and getting other people's opinions on things and just, you know, really making it a team effort.
That's amazing. I am curious with you saying, you know, you kind of started out just releasing songs on SoundCloud, maybe for your friends to listen to. Overall, I mean, pursuing this full time and making it big time, has that been well received by the people around you? Or has it been difficult? Is it a challenge to, you know, fully commit to this?
At the beginning, it was definitely an obstacle. Once things started moving, you know, more people started singing it, more people started believing in what I'm doing. As things go up, like, you know, the belief of other people starts to go up. When I first started, it was never like that though. When I first started, you know, just releasing music and trying to get my music out there, people weren't, you know, excited about it. They weren't, you know, telling everybody about it, even my friends. Like, they weren't like, there were some people I knew, they would like post about it, but it was like, no, I was just a guy rapping. There were plenty of kids at my school that did it. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't something that people were like rooting me on, like, go Justice, do this. It was just like, look at him, like what he like. It was more like kind of like point and laugh type of situation, rather than we're all in this together. But as things started progressing, you know, I got a lot more support from people. And yeah.
I know you mentioned that you kind of found your confidence in your singing voice and kind of finding your own sound and what you wanted to do. Um, is that hard to do? Like, how do you go about finding that and stepping into that confidence? I mean, were you nervous at all, or did it kind of just feel like, yep, this is what I was supposed to be doing this whole time?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gave me that feeling like, why haven't I been doing this before? And it was just about really stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something that, you know, I wasn't used to, that wasn't, you know, normal to how I usually thought about making music, because I would always go in just like, let's make like a cool, you know, hard rap song or something like that. And I never really expanded my genres. I never said, hey, let's make a pop song, let's make an alternative rock song. I never really tried to do that until I started, you know, experimenting with my voice and my singing voice. And so it definitely got me to where I am now, for sure.
I know you also mentioned, you know, J. Cole and Logic and taking inspiration from that. What are some of your favorite artists to listen to and some of your favorite music?
I mean, a lot of the same music that like I've been listening to growing up, I listen to now. I have a tendency to not listen to music at all. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
I listen to music occasionally, but mainly most of the time I'm either making music, or I'm like reviewing tracks that I made, or doing something else that doesn't involve music, because I'm always listening to music all the time anyway. So it's just like it's a battle. Like, I'll listen to music in my car, but most of the time I'm just like blasting rap music or some playlist that I find. But I barely have any playlists for myself. I get playlists from people. People send me playlists. I just throw it on shuffle and just listen to the music that's on it.
That's so interesting. I don't think I've encountered an artist who said, "Oh, I don't really listen to music that often." That's so interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I have one more question for you, and then we can kind of wrap up. But what is your biggest long-term goal? Like, where in the best case scenario do you see yourself down the road in music?
Uh, Definitely, I see myself just, you know, having my own headline tours, you know, doing everything, you know, with what I got, and, you know, living off what I have, you know, being able to provide, you know, being
Yeah,
set for life pretty much. I just want to, like, my whole goal in this is to just, you know, have fun, do what I love to do for the rest of my life. And that's all I want to do. Once I get to the point where I'm like, I know for sure this is what's going to be happening for the rest from here on until I die, that's where I'm trying to get to.
I love that. I love that answer. It's so down to earth and so authentic. Thank you so much for meeting with me. I appreciate you answering all these questions, and I can't wait for you to release your new single, Don't Trip. We'll be featuring it over on EUPHORIA Magazine, so shout out to EUPHORIA. Again, thank you so much for meeting with me.
Thank you for having me. It's great.